Hi guys. Well, I asked you guys to hand in your Greenfoot stuff to make sure that everything was going okay, and I took a look, and I was really impressed. You guys have done some really good stuff. So we're going to continue. What I want to do today is I want to show you how to make your enemy move. So again, we've got a game, and I'm going to move around. I can collect some grass, and I can do stuff. And when I get my fifth one, I go to a new world. And most people were able to get that working, which is fantastic. And now I want to make this game a little more challenging. So I'm going to make my snake move because I want the snake to kind of not chase me. I mean, we're not going to go that far yet, but let's at least have the snake moving around the screen. So we're going to make the snake move, but we're going to have him move diagonally and bouncing off the walls. So I'm going to go into my snake code. And right now, my snake does absolutely nothing, right? Which is what we expect because the snake actually does absolutely nothing. And I want my snake to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare a couple of variables up here. I'm going to say int x pose and int y pose. And what's going to happen here is we are going to get the x position of the snake and the y position of the snake. And actually, I'm just going to make a small change here. Sorry. I'm going to take that code and I'm going to put it inside of here because I want to readjust every time the snake moves. Why is my computer going so slow? Here we go. Come on, wake up. Okay. That's my tabs. Okay, tabs are good. So what I've done, I have given the snake two variables, x position and y position. And every time when the program is running, it keeps running this endless loop. That's what the act is doing. So the snake continuously checks to see what is my x coordinate, and it stores it right there. What is my y coordinate, and it stores it right there. So I know where the snake is. What I want to do is I want to set the location of the snake. I'm going to move the snake, and I do that by setting the location. I'm going to say I want the snake to be whatever the x position was plus, let's say, 2, and y position plus 2. Now, before I run it, think about what that's going to do. Basically, we're changing the snake's location, and we're going to make the x coordinate increase by 2 and the y coordinate increase by 2, and we're going to do this over and over and over and over again. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the snake went diagonally. Why? Because don't forget, at the same time, we're increasing the x, which makes the snake go this way, and we're increasing the y, which makes the snake go this way. So you combine those things, and we get that kind of motion. Fantastic. And by the way, I chose 2 completely randomly. If I chose, say, 10, we might not even see the snake move because he's going to go a lot faster. That's the number of pixels that the snake moves at once. Ready? Gone. Perfect. Okay. Now, I'm going to set it back, by the way, to what I want to do now is I want to make the snake bounce off of the walls. Okay? So, this one is not quite as intuitive as the other ones, but if the snake hits this wall right here, what's going to happen is he's going to bounce back. So let's say the snake was up here, and if the snake was going like this, and he hit this wall, he'd go like that. What changed? And the answer is, instead of increasing the x, now I'm decreasing the x. And if he keeps going and hits the bottom, now, instead of increasing the y, I'm decreasing the y. And if he hits this side, instead of decreasing x, now I'm increasing x again. And if he hits this top, now instead of decreasing y, I'm increasing y. So basically, I want to check to see which wall did he hit. And if he hit this wall or this wall, then I'm switching the x movement, meaning that if we were increasing x, now we're decreasing. And if we were decreasing x, now we're increasing. And the same thing for the y, or the top and the bottom, where I'm going to either be flipping the y, either from I'm decreasing y, now I'm increasing it, or I'm increasing y, now I'm decreasing it. Sounds like a lot. Not too bad. This is what we're going to do. Instead of saying 2 here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say hors move, horizontal movement, and vert move, like that. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to define those to be at the very start. When I create a snake, the hors move factor will be, let's say, 3, and the vert move factor will be 3 as well. So when the program begins, when I make a brand new snake, they both are going to have a horizontal movement factor of 3 and a vertical movement factor of 3. Now, watch what I do here. If X position becomes less than, let's say, 5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that hors move and I'm going to multiply it by -1. Now think about that. What's 5 times, or 3, let's take 3. What's 3 times -1? It's -3. Okay, what's -3 times -1? It's 3. And what's 3 times -1 again? Oh, it's -3. And what's -3 times -1 again? Oh, it's 3. And so it keeps going, switching back and forth. When we multiply it by -1 once, it's going to change the direction. So instead of adding 3, when this happens, we will be adding -3, which is going to make it look like it's going the other way. Okay, so let's take that snake. Oh, I just realized we're going to have a problem because this here compares the X position of the snake, and it says if the snake's position becomes less than 5. Now where would that be? Well, that would be over here. It would be when we're hitting this wall. So what about when we hit this wall? Well, how big is our screen? Our screen, if you remember from my world, is 600 by 400. So what I could do is I could say, okay, if the X position is greater than, let's say, 595, then we're going to change the horizontal movement value. So let's try that, and I'm also going to move my snake up while I'm at it. So I'm going to move that snake just a little bit higher in the world. I'm going to put him at 520, like that. So that way he'll be up here, and I want him to bounce. That might be a little too high because his head's off the screen. No good. Oops, wrong world. There we go. Let's say 40. Better. Okay, so if this worked, then the snake's going to move, 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 and then it's going to hit this wall. His X position has become too high, and it's going to bounce. Let's see if it works. Okay, now, what's happened there is the snake's kind of got caught in the wall, and that's a common thing that happens, meaning that the X position never hit here. Let's decrease this just a little bit, like 575. We got to play with that number a little bit. Run it now. Oh, and we got a bug. Okay, I cheated with my video a little bit. I paused it so I could find my little mistake, and I found it. So when I get the X and the Y coordinates, I have to then do my little check to see if my X position values come too high. So I move that to here. Now watch the snake. Ah, there we go. It bounced. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay, well that's good. Now, what I want to do is make it bounce off the bottom too. So similarly, I'm going to say, okay, well, if the Y position is become greater than, and remember our screen was 600 by 400, so let's go to like 375 or so. If the Y position gets greater than that, then we want to flip that vert move. So we're going to take that, and we're going to paste, and we're going to change that to vert. So again, what I'm doing, I get the coordinates and I say, okay, have we come too close to the wall? Oh, we have? Okay, then instead of moving to the left, we're going to move to the right, we're going to move to the left. And we do that by changing this value, multiplying by -1, so it becomes negative. We're doing the exact same thing here. So with any luck, look at that. We got bouncing. And now we can finish it off because it's the same thing. If the snake hits either the right side or, remember this one, or, that's my or if the snake comes too close to the left side. So if the snake's value becomes less than, say, 5. So in either one of those cases, I want to do something. Now, because I have two cases, I have to put them both in brackets like that. And for the y value, it's going to be the same thing. Oops. Or, so if it gets too high, or if it gets too low. Okay. If this works the way I think it will, we should get bounce. So bounce, bounce. Is it too low, too low, too low? Yep, look at that, too low. Perfect. And we get the bouncing effect. I could just watch this all day. So now I have an enemy that moves around the screen, and if it hits the hippo, then yeah, there we go. We have trouble. So it's all done in the snake class. It's not that much code actually when you look at it. And if I change these numbers, then I can change the little box that the snakes moves into. Like for example, if I were to change this to like a 455 and this to like a 140 and this to 140 and this to like 275. Now watch how the snake is limited. Oh, the snake's starting outside of its box. If I move it there, let's see now. I think I made my bounds too tight. There we go. See that? So now we've really constricted that snake's movement, saying that he can only move in certain directions. But if we want to make it look like he's bouncing off the walls, then that is the way to do it. So we say if the snake is too high, too low, and we can change those numbers a little bit because it looked like it was going into the wall a little bit. And boom. So that should take me back to where I was with the snake bouncing off the walls. Yeah, there we go. Pretty good. So your assignment for today is to try to get your enemy moving around the screen like mine. And if you haven't done it already, and many of you have, I'd like you to try to do a lives counter. So this is my counter to count how many items of grass I get. There we go. And I don't have a counter for lives yet. So right there, I would lose a life. So maybe we have one counter that counts the grass, and that's, if we get 5, we move on. But I want another counter now that counts my lives, and maybe give yourself 3 lives, and if you get hit by the enemy 3 times, then create another world where instead of saying you win, it says you lose. Okay? Ha, got away from him. All right, good luck everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.